In early February of 2007, I received a request relative to a cold case investigation that Topeka, Kansas was conducting, and they wanted my input and assistance in seeing whether or not they could put together a viable prosecutable case. When I received the murder book from Detective Richard Foley, which consisted of some 500 pages of police reports, medical reports, transcripts, interviews, toxicology, crime scene photographs. It was pretty voluminous. I started with the crime scene photographs, and one thing that really leaped off the page was the brutality of the homicide. I've been involved with over 8,000 homicides. I have personally investigated, supervised, consulted, and assessed. These type of events are rare. When you have a personal rage type of homicide, where you can tell by looking at the bodies that the person who did that had a personal vengeance to exact. But it was quite apparent early on in the investigation that they had a person of interest. An offender like Dana Chandler is interesting because it kind of leaps off the page. Here was a woman who was consumed with jealousy and revenge. She never accepted the fact that her husband left her, and not only that, that the judge had ruled that he has custody of the children. How many times does the man get custody of the children in a divorce? As you read the investigative notes, I was impressed by the fact that Michael Sisco said, "I'm afraid of my wife Dana." Karen Harkness even told her beautician, "Listen, if anything ever happens to me, check out Mike's ex-wife." It was her pre-crime as well as post-crime behavior that had he emerge very early on as a person of interest. And it was very important that she made a statement. Even though it was in the presence of an attorney, she said things and she weaved this web of deceit that if you looked at it very carefully, it began to unravel. She put herself in a federal park where you have cameras. Her car's not there. She put herself on a route that she should have seen something she didn't see. The circumstantial evidence overwhelmingly inculpated Dana Chandler as the only person and the one person who had the motive, means, and opportunity to commit these murders. When taken cumulatively and looking at the whole picture, this was the quintessential circumstantial evidence case. This was exquisite. And when I wrote it up for the authorities and presented why and how this was a prosecutable case, I was hoping that they would jump on it immediately. And the DA dropped the ball, and to have a district attorney now pick up the case and run with it, I was thrilled when I heard that she was arrested for the crime.
I want to thank all of the people that were involved in bringing this case to court. Vernon Gilbreth for bringing the case from a cold case to being active again.
When I found out that Carol Sisco actually mentioned my name when she thanked everyone, I was quite pleased, and that doesn't happen very often, so that was nice.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of the crime of murder in the...
Justice finally prevailed. Took a while, but it prevailed.